morning. My name is Nora Mulligan, and I am your worship associate this morning. Please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us, in the gray hymnal. Susie's next. Susie.
Oh, sorry.
Don't worry. I'll introduce you before you come up. It's okay. I'll introduce you.
Good morning. My name is Susie Duga, and I'm your worship associate this morning. Please rise and. Oh. I'm sorry. I came up here to see what to read, and
You started at the top. It's okay.
Started at the top. All right. Start over. Good morning. My name is still Susie Duga, so that's good to know. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you've been with us, this congregation, a decade or more, or this is your first time visiting us, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wapentshire tribes. So the announcements are, let's see. Okay, the board wishes to thank the hospitality team, number 3, led by Chris Fenton, for the coffee during the month of April. The board also wants to thank the pledge team, Sherry Brown, Bernie Croft, Joanne Hefner, and Terry Lucan, for all their work on putting together the pledge drive this year. That's it for that. Okay, let's see. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-newsletter and check our website frequently. And please join us for coffee after the service. If you're present in the sanctuary, please join us for coffee and conversation in Fellowship Hall. If you're watching live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you're recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uukroton@gmail.com with your name, and we will make sure you're added to our e-news list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phones at this time. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist congregation of the Hudson Valley.
It is my pleasure to introduce our guest minister today. Erol Delos Santos is a Master's of Divinity student at Union Theological Seminary and a membership coordinator at the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Northern Westchester. He's also a member in good standing at the Fourth Universalist Society of the City of New York where he is held in love, care, and sponsorship. Please join me in welcoming Erol Delos Santos.
Thank you so much. Good morning. This is our invocation for this morning. We know that in the same breath, our worth and value remain intact from our birth to our death. We promise when justice and equity hang in the balance, that we seek to change the equation to tilt to compassion with our human relations. We promise to keep each other so that we may be safe and grow together in love. And we promise to help each other make sense of it all, to find truth, to locate meaning in everything we are seeing, in everything we are feeling. And as the tapestry of our lives unfurl, we promise to release peace and liberty in the world, in our homes, and in our communities. For we are all connected. Excuse me. For we are all connected, and we all have a sense that our reality is dense with known and unknown connections, intertwined, interdependent. And finally, when it comes to oppressive systems of hate, of bigotry, we do our best to disrupt the machinery and stand shoulder to shoulder with our siblings who bear this weight too. These are our guiding principles. And in this, we hold each other in love and joy.
Good news, the bells are working again, so I invite all the young people of the congregation to go and ring the bells with Susie Dugal, to ring the bells 8 times for our 8 principles.
Our chalice lighting words come to us from Dina Moore, the current intern minister at the Unitarian Universalist congregation at Shelter Rock. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, an affirmation of our shared covenant, and our commitment to journey toward spiritual wholeness. May it kindle courage and compassion in our hearts. May its brilliance amplify the light of truth that lives in each of us. May its warmth be welcome to all to share in the wisdom of beloved community.
Now, please join me for the unison affirmation. The words are in your order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice. Now we will sing the children out. Let us now bear witness to the joys and sorrows experienced in our community. I light this first candle for all the suffering in the world. in all the conflicts in the world, in Gaza and Israel, in South Sudan, Yemen, and Ukraine, and so many other places, let us have a moment of silence for all those aching in the wider world. As our sorrows are real, so are our joys. I light the second candle. For all care, kindness, and compassion unfolding among friends, families, and strangers in the world right now, in cities, towns, and villages. We are grateful for the love shared. As we hold and honor the joys and sorrows of the wider world, so do we also have our personal joys and sorrows. Now is the time for our personal joys and sorrows. If you have a brief yet personally significant joy or sorrow that you're willing to share, please come up to the microphone over there and speak loudly so that everyone, including those watching at home, can hear you. If you would prefer only to have a candle lit without speaking, please just stand or raise your hand and I will light a candle for you. I'm going to light one candle for Reverend Daniel and Yumi and their son, JJ. We're out in San Francisco, doing as well as can be expected, and are grateful for our love and care.
My name is Jim Russell, and I had a joy and a sorrow yesterday with my wife Ginny Stillman. We attended a workshop here at the church with the board and greeters, worship associates, and members of the Safe Congregation team. My sorrow is that there are incidents which around the country have caused us to have to prepare for emergencies and situations which are not safe. But the joy was that there were 15 people there yesterday from this congregation, led by Margie Kemper, and we learned a lot, and now we're better prepared.
Hi, I'm Al, and it is a great joy to share that on Tuesday, my wonderful wife Tina and I will be celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary.
Good morning and happy Mother's Day. I'm Betsy Cates. I have an extreme joy this morning. I had a student in third grade, Lauren, and from the time she was my 8-year-old student, 21 years ago, to the present day, we have kept in very close touch over the years, and she has become a true adult friend. She and her wife are celebrating their marriage in Mexico City a week from today, and I'm going. And Mother's Day joy, my date will be my tall, handsome, and suave son who lives in Portland. So we will meet up in Mexico City and spend a week there together. Yeah.
I have a couple of joys and with a slight sorrow in there. I also want to lift up a joy of the workshop that happened yesterday for the Safer Congregation. I was just really touched by that we all came together, and though we were working on something really hard, when I left, I just felt so full, and I just really felt how our community comes together to work through hard things, and I felt just the support, and it really is touching. And then I want to just give a joy about it being Mother's Day, but the sorrow piece of it is, so I have a 4th grader, and every year since daycare, I get these handmade Mother's Day gifts from the schools or the daycare. And so since Friday, I've been wondering, like, is there something in that backpack, you know? When is the thing going to come out of the backpack? And so I guess they stopped doing that in 4th grade because the thing never came out of the backpack, which is, you know, just like the changing how as children grow up, they express things differently. So that was a little bit of a sorrow, but I'm still being celebrated and wearing one of my mother's sweaters. So happy Mother's Day to all the mothers.
Hi, my name is Laura Papowitz, and I want to express a joy today. My tall and handsome son, Chris, is here, and it's really exciting. He is married. He's about to become a father, and this year, his wife is spending Mother's Day with her mom, and Chris is spending Mother's Day with me.
I'm going to light one more candle for all the joys and sorrows that we keep in the safety of our hearts. And another candle for all the people who've yet to find a place where they can share their joys and sorrows.
Friends, I have to apologize for my voice. It really wasn't like this during sound check. But let's take a deep breath together as we prepare for a prayer. Spirit of life, you who has no end and no beginning, you who is present in the silence and the singing. We gather today to honor and celebrate the essence of motherhood in its myriad of forms. In the spirit of understanding and compassion that defines our shared community, we recognize the infinite expressions of nurturing, caregiving, and love that connects us all. We hold in our hearts the mothers who have embraced the dual roles of both mother and father, navigating through the complexities of caregiving with grace and resilience. Excuse me. Their strength is a testament to the boundless capacity of the human heart to love, to give, embodying the delicate balance of gentleness and tenacity. May they feel supported and respected and cherished within the circle of this community and our wider communities. We hold in our hearts those who do not have a mother. May the mothering spirit reach you in many other ways, through leaders, through teachers, social workers, members of community, all those who extend their own mothering love. In the warmth of our gratitude, we remember the mothers who have passed from this world to the next. Their love endures like the starlight that travels across our night skies, gone from our sight, but never from our hearts. In their memory, we find courage and inspiration to carry forward the legacy of love they have entrusted to us. We celebrate the the diversity of mothering experiences, from the traditional to the unconventional, acknowledging that love knows no boundaries. To single parents, same-sex parents, and to all who embody the nurturing spirit of motherhood in unique and meaningful ways, we offer our recognition and support. Your journey enrich our understanding and appreciation of the many paths of love and caregiving. May we all, regardless of our differences, find common ground in universal values of love and compassion that motherhood represents. In doing so, may we build a world that reflects the beauty and the diversity of the family in all of its forms. On this day and every day, we honor the sacred bond of motherhood, asking for blessings of joy, health, and peace for mothers everywhere. May their sacrifices be acknowledged, their challenges met with understanding, and their love celebrated by all who benefit from its warmth. In the spirit of unity and love that guides us, may we give thanks for the gift of motherhood. May we carry the essence of this blessing in our hearts and spreading its light through every word and action, today and always. Amen and blessed be. Now join us in silent meditation.
This reading comes from the Gospel according to Matthew. Jesus is being tempted while out in the wilderness to use his own powers for dominion, but Jesus chooses instead to listen. Jesus answered, "It is written, 'One shall not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God.'" Here ends our reading. Please join me in singing hymn number 1007, "There's a River Flowing in My Soul," which is in the hymnal.
There's a river flowing
In my first year as a seminarian at Union Theological Seminary, we were invited to a convocation. It's a gathering of new seminarians where we were welcomed by the president at the time, the Reverend Dr. Serene Jones. She warned us that we seminarians would be changed by the experience. She described the experience of seminary to be an undressing of our old clothes, a standing in our nakedness, in the truth of our own understanding. And in our nakedness, we would don new clothes, new interesting fabrics of belief and knowledge. I understand the tradition and practice of preaching in many ways, but this is probably how I would describe it in the best way, which is that no matter what is said on the pulpit, those who are preaching are bringing forth the truth of themselves, a truth of how they understand the world. To enhance this message even more, I recall a message delivered by Reverend Nathan Ryan, a senior minister of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, about how the freedom of the pulpit, what it truly means. It is the standard to free expression without censure. My understanding of the freedom of the pulpit at the time was this exactly. But he went even further to talk about something that I hadn't heard before. And it was the freedom of the pew, which he bluntly announced was the idea that the people in the pews don't have to agree with you. They don't have to agree with what's being said on the pulpit. So they are able to comb the message for wisdom that can be applied for their own lives. And I knew this intuitively, and as he said it, I began to have a deeper appreciation for it. Reflecting on these profound ideas about the freedoms of both the pulpit and the pew, I'm reminded of a story that unfolded during my first year in seminary. I had the privilege of living in New York City. I had access to a beautiful diversity of voices in the pulpit. I heard humanists, rabbis, imams, priests, and preachers from all different traditions. Even with the richness of this experience, I also experienced preachers in places I did not expect. One day, during a routine commute from my apartment in Harlem to my seminary, I took the subway. And in between jumping from one line to another, I encountered a street preacher. And as I sat down, the street preacher began to speak to gather people's attention. And as he stood in his truth, he began to preach. Already you could hear people like shifting uneasily in their seats, holding their books closer to their face, right? Headphones a little tighter, rolling eyes, scoffing, sneering. People entirely too ready to prepare themselves to close the door on his message. I was one of them. I also looked away, turned on some music in my headphones. But the street preacher began to preach anyway, their truth in full display to an audience that did not want to hear them, including me. So I took that train to seminary that afternoon, and I attended Reverend Dr. Daisy Machado's class on early Christianity in America, and the presence of street preachers during one of the heights of American religion called the Second Great Awakening. Street preachers were essential at that time, she said. Street preachers were often denied the pulpit because their message was too radical and it challenged the mainstream theology too much. And so they took to the streets. They offered a theology that centered freedom from sin, a salvation accessible to everyone, and without any institutional support, and only the change from the pockets of passerbys, they preached countercultural messages that shifted the way Americans at the time understood religion. Street preachers take to the streets even now because they were denied a pulpit. Their message did not fit our understanding of the world, and their message did not conform to our individual truths. The freedom of the pulpit and the pew is a reminder that there is no single narrative or understanding of the truth, but rather a multitude of perspectives that need to be heard and respected. Whether it's in a formal religious setting or on subway cars, we must continue to uphold these freedoms to ensure that all voices can be heard and valued. It is through this diversity that we explore the reality of this world that we live in. So this leads me to the question, who am I not listening to? Who have I denied their truth? And one answer to that question is those of a certain class, of a certain gender, of a certain level of education, race and queerness, the houseless, the sick, the incarcerated. Well, these are the people all people of faith should listen to. They are the voices that have been silenced in one way or another. The lesson I learned here is that there is a dynamic to listening, that the tradition of preaching is a great way to explore this dynamic, but that's only half of the magic of this tradition. The other half is listening with an open heart. But what does that mean? How do I listen without activating all my internal biases? One method of being able to hear a message for its gems is applying a hermeneutic of grace. The first time I heard these words put together in this way, it was during a systematic theology class. Sorry. And in that class, we were studying dead white male theologians and their thoughts about God. Well, when it comes to my identity and my cultural understanding of society, I know that I am gay. I grew up working class. I am an immigrant. What could these theologians, without these contexts, teach me? It turns out they could teach me volumes, but I needed to approach their material in a way I wasn't used to wade in their truths without being harmed by their words. The discipline of hermeneutics stands as a foundational pillar in the philosophical realm of interpretation. It's a discipline that comes from the roots of biblical and legal analyses, extending its branches across all fields, including literature, history, human actions, and communications. The essence of hermeneutics lies in this deep-seated quest to unravel meanings in text, actions, or any form of communication that bears layers of complexity or ambiguity. I'm going to give you a crash course in hermeneutics right now because it's an important discipline. you have to start with contextual understanding. In the hermeneutic process, it involves immersing oneself in the historical, cultural, and linguistic backdrops of a certain topic or text. This serves as a lens through which the interpreter's views and understands the subject, adding depth to their comprehension. The second is interpretive dialogue. Hermeneutics recognizes interpretation as a dynamic dialogue between the interpreter and the subject, or the text, or the action, right? And this implies that the interpreter's personal context and experiences and understandings actively shape the interpretive process. The third is evolving interpretations. It acknowledges that interpretations are not static entities enclosed in a vacuum. Instead, they are fluid, evolving with the emergence of new perspectives, new insights, new contexts that ripple through the seas of understanding over time. Number 4 is coherent integration. The goal of hermeneutics is to forge interpretations that resonate with coherence and relevance within the overarching matrix of knowledge and understanding. It's about crafting a mosaic of meaning that adds to the grand tapestry of the wisdom that we have collected as humans. So hold on to that idea of hermeneutics, because here comes the important part. A hermeneutics of grace is about interpreting messages with good faith. This transcends the mere mechanics of understanding communication, and it embodies a profound ethical commitment to honesty, sincerity, and empathy. Now, this can seem like an easy thing to do, and sometimes it is. But let me share some key principles that guide this ethos. The first is to presume honesty. Good faith interpretations begin with the assumption that the communicator is being honest and sincere, that they are standing in their truth. This foundational belief paves the way for genuine understanding and mutual respect. Understanding perspectives. It involves a concerted effort to step into the shoes of the other, appreciating their background and intentions and emotional landscape. This empathetic stance facilitates a deeper and more nuanced comprehension. Good faith also demands the restraint from prematurely attributing negative motives or making unfounded assumptions. It champions a more open-minded and charitable approach, where a hermeneutic of suspicion would ask that we challenge points early and often. A hermeneutic of grace assumes a posture that waits to hear the full breadth of a message before challenging it. Next is active listening. This principle emphasizes the importance of engaging with the communicator through active listening, which entails seeking clarifications, posing open-ended questions, and being attuned to underlying meanings. And the last is seeking common ground. Good faith interpretation is not about winning arguments or finding common ground and forging solutions that acknowledge and respect differing viewpoints. Interpreting with good faith, particularly within the framework of hermeneutics, is essentially about fostering an environment of respect, understanding, and growth. It encourages an approach to communication that's rooted in empathy, openness, and sincere desire to understand the other. And I'll give you an example. So I wanted to test this idea out, the first time I learned about it. And I decided to apply a hermeneutic of grace to something really challenging for me at the time. And what I landed on were interviews of people who participated in the January 6th insurrection event. If you're not familiar with this event, it's a group of people in shared ideology who attempted to physically overthrow the government by forcing their way through the Senate building in our country's capital, Washington, D.C. They were unsuccessful. And as I scrolled through various interviews on the internet, and I applied this hermeneutic of grace to what people were saying, something began to formulate in my mind. And I started to focus on these very clear ideas that were common in all the interviews. The government has failed us. The economy isn't improving. It was a feeling of helplessness that motivated me to do something. I am suspicious of corruption in politics. There are people in the government that don't represent me. Suddenly, the graceful interpretation revealed a lot of these unifying concerns that can and actually be worked on. This hermeneutic brought me closer to them, and I was able to hear a message that I would have otherwise closed myself to. And that was what I needed. I needed to understand that I was standing with someone's truth. And I was free to agree or disagree, and that I could not comb their message for wisdom unless I heard them with an open heart. And it led me to the idea that I've closed my ears to too many people, to too many truths. As we continue on our journey of faith and understanding, here is the hope for our message today. May we always remember the importance of listening and valuing all voices, even those that challenge us or make us uncomfortable. May our hearts open to the message of someone's truth, and may we strive for a world where everyone's truth is heard. Amen, and blessed be.
Now please rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 1014 in the teal hymnal, Answering the Call of Love. Together offering from the bounty we are blessed to enjoy. We do this in a spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those who in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with the Center for Common Ground, a nonpartisan Black and women-led voting rights organization founded in 2018. They work in states where more than 20% of voters are people of color: Alabama, Arizona, Florida, Georgia, Virginia, North Carolina, South Carolina, and Texas. For more information, please visit the website www.centerforcommonground.org. Please refer to our e-newsletter or website for more information. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you can give cash or a check in the offering plate as it comes by. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter or by visiting our website, UUCHudsonvalley.org. Or, if you prefer, you can always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received.
So we'll prelude of the melodies. If you turn your program to the back, you can sort of follow the lyrics so you can sing it for the poster.
Please join me in the dedication of the offering. The words are in your order of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. Please join me in extinguishing the chalice. The words are in your order of service. We extinguish this flame through the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
Our service today has ended, and so our service to the world, it continues. Go in peace, with open hearts and open minds.
Since it's so short, we'll just sing it like 3 times too.
voice.
No, it's back now.
Of course it's, I can preach now. Of course you can preach now. You don't need to.
Is there a second service?
You take it on now? All right.